the other side of writing a book. What sort of book it is. It can be a business book, it can be a memoir, it can be anything. It can be a children's book. The process of writing will change your life. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Artist and Author Hour. I'm your host, Tony Lontis, and today we have another phenomenal guest and author for you to listen to and engage with. But before we get on with the show, just a reminder, if you're watching this live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, and if you're watching live on Everyday Women's Network TV, don't forget to send us a message, drop us an email, post a comment, or ask us anything that you want to know about this show. A reminder too that all the notes from this show, including the guests' links and how to connect with them, are appearing in the show notes either below or attached to this show. A reminder too that Everyday Women's Network is now available on Android, Apple, and Amazon Fire, and it is free to subscribe. So jump on and check out the latest from our wonderful, diverse range of content producers from across the planet. EWNTV.online is where you go and jump on to see the TV in all its fabulous glory. Now, each and every week, we do a welcome to country, and it's a small acknowledgement of the value our Indigenous peoples placed and helped to grow Australia's cultural identity. And it goes like this. I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we speak, broadcast, and meet. These people are the Yugambeh language region peoples, the traditional owners of the land, and I want to pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging, and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here listening today. Now, the title of our video today is The Art of Feminine Seduction, Dating Self-Help for Women. And our guest is Alana McKenzie Page, and she is the best person in the world to talk to about this particular subject. Now, a little bit about Alana. She is a dating and intimacy coach. She guides people to feel confident, sexy, and lovable in dating and in life so they can experience passionate, intimate relationships. She is the creator and the author of The Art of Feminine Seduction, an energetic dating system that helps you reclaim your personal power in love so that you can experience more fun and more fulfillment in romance. Her mission is to help exponential, I'll start again. Her mission is to help exponential numbers of people date with full emotional and sexual power, and to be personally invited to at least 20 Art of Feminine Seduction weddings per year. Alana can be found on sovereign-dating.com, and you might find that love is closer than you think. In her latest book, Dating Self-Help for Straight Women, the book chronicles her own dating journey while teaching her signature dating method, feminine seduction. Feminine refers to the archetypal feminine or feminine energy, while seduction means the phase of the relationship where romantic or sexual interest is kindled. She wrote the book to help women who are where she was 5 years ago, believing there was something wrong with her, all the men she dated, all the world that she was trying to find them in, that prevented her from having a committed, sexy relationship, the one that she wanted. The core message is that love is possible for all. Please welcome to the show, Alana McKenzie Page. Hello, Alana.
Hello, Tony. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
Apologies for my alarm going off. I really thought that I'd turned that off. My phone is on silent, so that's the only possible thing that can make noise in the background of an interview. So I'm so sorry.
I didn't hear it
Um,
at all.
fantastic, fantastic. Alana, who is Alana McKenzie Page? Tell us all.
All right. So I am a dating and intimacy coach, and I got here through, as the book can tell you, a long journey of being very challenged by dating and intimacy. And I say both of
Mm,
those.
yeah.
Um, you know, I really struggled to date in a way that was empowering and that felt fulfilling for me
Mm,
for over a decade.
yeah.
I could not find love to save my life. I just could not get it right.
Mm,
And I did. I got to this place, as you mentioned, where I really felt there was something wrong with me, or
mm.
something wrong with men, or something wrong with the world. But
Or
especially
all of
at
the
that,
above.
right, all of the above. But then I got to that 15-year mark of being
Yeah.
single, and it was like, I am the common denominator. So I went on a journey to re reclaim my dating journey, to reclaim romance for myself, to
Yes.
get connected to my ability to be intimate and my ability to experience romance and excitement in relationship. And I did end up turning my love life around 180 degrees. And then
Wow.
in that journey, I started thinking, why doesn't everyone know this? Why don't women
Mm,
know that this is possible?
mm,
Why isn't this sort of a common story that we without shame, we all know, oh, you can transform the way
mm.
that relationships go for you.
Yeah.
I do think that's changing now slowly as people like myself and others do this work. Um, but it's really like, oh, it's not that complicated if we all just can get a little bit of help with this.
Yeah.
And so I started my company and with that mission, as you read again, to really help women turn around the way dating goes for them and feel empowered, feel sexy, feel confident while looking for love and then also while being in relationships.
And Alana, that's what's driven your writing and what you do now is that desire to give tips and wisdom that you can help yourself in the dating arena. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I've been working as a coach, so working with people one on one or in groups, groups of women to sort of create it's energy, right? So we work on feminine
Yeah.
energy, and then we do the shifting of the energy, and then we also learn some, we could call them hard skills of dating. So things like
Yeah.
flirting, things like creating intimate space, intimate conversations, sort of problem solving, we could say,
Yeah.
in dating, sort of troubleshooting in dating. And then I realized that it's kind of a slow process to do that, and it's very, although it's extremely rewarding for me as a person to get to do that work with
Yeah.
people very intimately. I really wanted more people to have access to the information and to the teaching.
Yeah.
And what came through for me is that I love self-help books.
Mm.
I love to
Yeah.
read
I'm
self-help
with
books.
you.
Yes, it's something that makes me so happy and has really profoundly changed my life. I mean, I am someone who can get a lot from reading a book.
Mm,
So I wanted to put my teaching into a book
mm.
and share it with the world in a much bigger way than I'd ever been able to before, just working one-on-one or in these small groups with people.
Yeah. Alana, I want to just go back to something you mentioned earlier in response to that question about feminine energy.
Mm.
Can you describe for the audience elements of feminine energy and why it's important to recognize what they are?
Absolutely. Feminine energy is sort of this polar opposite of masculine energy in terms of an energetic framework, right? So
Mhm.
we can get kind of technical here, but I'll
Yeah.
try to be as simple as possible. Um, the idea is that there are two ways for energy to move. One is inward, which is what we call feminine energy,
Yeah.
and then one is energy moving outward, which is the masculine energy. And
Mhm.
all people have both masculine and feminine,
Yep.
but the feminine energy is feminine, or we could even say female sexual energy.
Yes.
And that's because of the way the female body is created. Um, we experience our sexuality inside the body. It's all
Mhm.
internally moving.
Yes.
Whereas people with male bodies experience their sexuality outward. So, feminine sexual energy is all about what's inside of you.
Hmm.
And this is really important for people because we live in a world, currently the Western world especially,
Yes.
um, and I think indigenous cultures are a bit much better at this, but the sort
Definitely.
of mainstream, yeah, the mainstream Western, sort of, it's capitalism, it's patriarchy, it's these kind of
Yes.
systems that we live in
Hmm.
are very masculine energy predominant. And
Yep.
we all learn to value masculine energy more. We all learn to value our output more. We learn to value who we appear
Yeah.
to be on the outside more than who we are inside. And there's
Definitely.
this huge power to reclaiming the feminine, which is what is inside, what is internal.
Mm.
So, the way I kind of talk about that again simply is like that is your being, how you're being. It's not what you do in the world, it's just how you're being. It's about your feelings. So it's about the emotional experience of being yourself and being really connected to yourself and again, kind of related to the being, what's going on for you emotionally, internally. And then, all these other shifts that I talk about is such as receptivity. So being receptive rather than being focused on giving, because that's
Mm.
another sort of, um, we could say, side effect of of the culture that many of us grew up in, is this kind of tendency to believe we are worthwhile because of what we give, and
Mm.
sort of be disconnected from our ability to receive, when actually receiving is an incredibly powerful act, which is also necessary in order to complete a cycle of giving.
Yeah.
Someone must be receiving.
Yeah.
And so kind of bringing power back to that act of receiving. And then a couple other things I talk about are like being in process instead of being in initiation, or kind of this like need to make something happen energy. Feminine energy is much more about being present in the moment that is right now. And being really again with what is, with how you are and what your emotions are, and and sort of coming from there. And the power of that in dating is phenomenal. I mean, it's life changing. It's life
Yeah.
changing. So we can talk about that in a second too.
Going to say, Alana, this whole discussion leads us back into the book, and the book is about your discovery of these elements and what you had to change. And I'm curious, um, and I know from talking to you that it took a while to learn some of these things, and they're encapsulated in the book. I'm wondering if you're happy to share with the audience the particular things, a couple of the particular things that you had to learn for yourself that made dating better and ultimately worked for you.
Yeah. Well, very simply, and simply but powerfully, is
Yes.
sort of what I've already mentioned, is about that being piece. Because where I was often coming from in dating and creating relationships is I was really worried about what was going on for the other person. And so, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Some of you already nodding like, "Oh yeah, I've been there."
yeah.
And I do, and I talk to women now, and that is a common story. I'll ask them how things are going for them, what they're struggling with, and they'll tell me about what the man is feeling and what he's thinking
Rather
and what's
than what
going
they're
on for him.
experiencing.
Yes. Yes. So the practice, and I still have to practice this being married now and being
Yeah.
in everyday relationship. This is still relevant.
Yeah.
The practice is to go back to how am I being? What's going on for me? So instead of being all about, I don't know what he wants, I don't know what he's thinking, I don't know how he feels about me, instead of going into that place, which is very much outside of the self,
Mm.
very much out of our control, we return to ourself and we look at, how am I showing up in dating? What's going on for me right now? Because that's where you can start to get really good information, such as, is this
Uh-huh.
even a good match for me? Because if
Yeah.
this match makes me feel anxiety, or makes me feel unworthy, or makes me feel like I'm not beautiful enough or interesting enough, maybe this isn't a great match for me. And that can really change everything too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That simple thing.
You talk about feminine seduction. Now,
Mm.
in the popular world, seduction has a terminology or thoughts around it that are pretty universal. However, there's a different way of looking at it, isn't there, Alana?
Yes.
There's an
Yeah.
art to feminine seduction that is not about um, the popularized thoughts around seduction. Can you explain that for the audience?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing about the word seduction is that it's very triggering for people.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And that's why I'm using it. So there's
Mhm.
a little trickster energy in there. I'm using it because it is a word that has, it lives in what we can call the collective shadow. It's a word that really is uncomfortable for people in a big way.
Yeah.
And it's also a word that's deeply connected to sexual power and the ability
Yes.
to really show up powerfully and have what you want, like have what you want in love. Can you get what you want in love?
Mm.
And part of my mission is to help people take it out of their shadow, I guess, to
Uh-huh.
shine light on the way that they are seductive in the world, the way that they are, you know, exciting to be in relationship with, right? Like, what is it about you that would make someone look at you and think, wow, I would really be interested in being with them? You know,
Yeah.
because we all have that nature
Yes.
inside of us, and many of us have just shut it down. I had definitely shut it down
Yeah.
in a big
I was
way.
just going to say it's a key part of your journey, Alana, as well, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I was definitely someone who did not attract attention from men, or I attracted kind of negative attention,
Mm.
or I attracted attention from men who weren't really serious about me.
Yeah.
So I kind of experienced all those levels of
Yeah.
just really not being empowered, not feeling, um, capable. I didn't feel capable of having, of attracting someone
Yeah.
and then of being in a really deeply fulfilling relationship.
Yeah. Um, in thinking about dating, we can't talk about dating without discussing online dating. And from my perspective, I had very bad relationships until I did online dating. And that's where I found my husband.
Mm.
And from my perspective, limited though that is, there were some misses, definitely
Mhm.
some misses. However, with my husband, we had great conversation and connection before we ever met. And so it was very successful in terms of that. But Alana, I want to know, and so it's not that that's old experience, but we've been together for 15 years. So it's kind of not up to date. I would
Yeah.
love to hear your thoughts, Alana, on the current online dating landscape.
Yes. Well, this is where I'll be a little bit spicy. I'm gonna say the thing about online dating is that it is everything.
Mm,
It's just like being in the world. It's like being in the
yeah,
big old world,
yeah,
which is full of wonderful people and it's full
full
of
of,
awful people.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and the thing about it is that you can choose your experience. So this is a thing I think a lot of people don't understand, and that's where I'm going to be a little spicy. And
yeah,
this is not to say it's your fault at all.
mm,
It's never anyone's fault the way things are happening for them in online dating. But there are ways that you can online date that are again empowering and
yeah,
exciting and lead to these very juicy and intimate connections, such
yeah,
as you experienced, Tony. And also, I met my husband on in online dating.
yeah.
Um, and also previously, before I met him, I used apps to meet men, and I never spent more than a month on an app before finding someone really incredible that I
Mm,
wanted to get to know.
mm,
Um, and my experience of dating apps was much different than what I hear people talk about.
yes.
I
I
just didn't
wondered
waste time,
because
right?
we didn't have apps back then. We had, oh
Oh,
gosh, I think it was called MSN dating. Uh,
oh, Yeah, I think that was
Giving
a
away
thing.
my
Yeah.
but it allowed you to have long conversations outside of
Yeah.
deciding to meet and all of those things,
Yeah.
which I found I sort of really felt that I knew him before I
Mhm.
met him,
Yeah.
in a deeper kind of way, because we'd had such deep and long conversations. Um,
Yeah.
Alana, what do you think the most important thing that women can start doing today to help them find the relationship that they want?
Well, I love online dating because because it's an abundant place to
Yes,
find people.
yes.
But the way that I would recommend going about it, and this is a very direct answer to your question, is to
Mm,
go about it in a way that you enjoy.
yes.
So not everybody loves apps, and that's okay too. You know, it's like, okay, you need to go where you would like to be, right? Whether that's joining a club or doing some
Yeah.
weekend hiking or something like that. It's like what would kind of light you up, you know, taking a dance class. Where can you go that's going to feel good to you? And maybe that's the apps, because there are so
Yes.
many single people on the apps, and I think that's so great. But
It
then,
actually increases because there's so many humans on those platforms. It actually
Mhm.
increases the likelihood of you finding someone uh, that is really wonderful
Yeah,
outside of your town or geographic area, if that makes sense. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just there's there's so many people on there is the
Mm.
thing.
Yes.
Um, And there are a lot of strategies you can use to kind of
Narrow
play with the
down what you,
algorithm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, sort of
exactly.
get the reach out further, or honing your profile so that you can kind of create,
Attract what you want
yeah, create
versus,
more connection.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Alana, just briefly, can you tell the audience about the book, where they can get it?
Yes. Well, I'd love to encourage people to go get it from their local bookstore.
Yeah,
It may not be for sale, on the shelf right now, but to request
it's
it,
coming.
that would be amazing. It is available. They can order
Yeah,
it. The
they
bookstores
can.
can order it.
Mm.
Yes.
I
Um,
just, sorry, Alana, to that point, I forget to mention to people when we talk to guest authors, if your local bookstore does not hold the guest's book, please ask the bookstore to stock it. There is
yeah.
no barrier to them stocking a book that you request.
Yeah.
So please, if you're listening to Alana's story and would really love to get the book, um, ask your local bookstore. So the title and where they can get it online if that's the way
Yes.
they want it.
Okay, yes. So the title is The Art of Feminine Seduction. It's teaching you how to reclaim power in dating, sex, and love. So it's specifically teaching you how to get connected to your feminine energy in a very deep and meaningful way, and then how to use my process of seduction, which is a three-ingredient process: attraction, which, yes,
Yeah,
you can create attraction with people, and sexual tension, which is really chemistry,
yeah.
and then emotional connection. And all of these are kind of skills that can be learned. So the book is all about
So,
learning that.
so sexual chemistry is a skill that can be learnt, Alana?
I know. Yes.
Mm.
Yes, it is. Um, Essentially, chemistry is just chemistry in the body. So it's this sort of
Mm.
hormonal juicy mixture of what happens when you feel it increase in libido a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that is dependent on the connection between you and another person, and you can intentionally create that kind of a connection, that kind of romantic connection. You can inspire that in someone. And the way that I mainly talk and teach about it is flirtation,
yeah,
because flirtation is what creates this kind of banter
yeah,
is a good word for it.
yeah.
Or
Dancer.
yeah, it just, it's a connection that has a little bit of tension in it. It's
Mm,
like, ooh,
mm.
there's something here that like
And
is interesting.
you, as a human being, you're going to know that.
Hmm.
It's not something, unless you're completely shut down, it's not something you're going to miss. Yeah.
Right. Yes, exactly. Exactly. However, if you are a little shut down, as I was, I
Mhm.
was I was very
Yes.
shut down, especially about my sexual nature. I was very ashamed of it in a way, and uncomfortable, really uncomfortable expressing it. It felt much safer to, um, be intelligent or be authoritative. Like, I was a teacher for most of my
Yeah.
early working, and so it's just like just really stick into this kind of like leadership role of I'm here to do
Yeah.
business kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And I was really not comfortable getting into this place that's kind of playful and sexy and
Mm,
what you really want on a date. I just didn't even
yeah.
I wasn't accessing that at all
Yeah.
in dating as well. So it is something that I learned. That's how I know it's something,
Now
it's a
that's
skill,
how
it can be
come you
learned.
know it works.
I had to learn it myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Alana, besides reading the book, there's other ways that people can work with you. Can you tell the audience about that?
Yes. So I do also want to say the book is available on Amazon
Oh,
and
yes, we forgot.
books.
Sorry, Amazon.
Yeah. No worries.
The
It's all
artist
over.
Amazon Seduction
It's
by
everywhere.
Alana McKenzie page is on Amazon. Oh my God, how could I forget to do that? I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
No worries. No worries. There's so much to say. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, so it's Amazon, Apple Books.
Is
I
there
don't
an
even remember
audible
all.
audible version
That
yet?
is coming out in a couple
Uh,
weeks. Yes.
mm,
Stay tuned for that.
yeah.
Uh, or get on my mailing list, I guess is the
Yes.
best way to find out more about that. Or following me on social media, which is Sovereign Dating on YouTube, on
Yes.
Instagram, on Facebook. Everything is
You will
Sovereign
have
Dating.
all of those links for Alana attached to the notes for this interview as well.
Excellent.
So
So should be
please
easy.
follow, connect. But other than the book, how do people get to work with you?
So I love to do one-on-one work.
Mm,
That's incredibly powerful. That's very it's directed because it's just about you, right? It's just about the person receiving
mm,
coaching, receiving uh the teaching. It's just, where are you in your dating journey? And then how do we get you to that
yeah.
deep, juicy relationship, no matter what's happened, whether you're in your late 30s or 40s, never had a relationship, or if you are just, or even mid 30s, people start feeling like I need to find my person to build a family with. We're running out of
Yeah.
time. Um, and then also, I tend to see people who've been divorced in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who,
Want to give it another go.
yeah, but there's a confidence blow
Mm,
that's
yeah.
happened in terms of relationship and feeling sexy because we can talk about our culture again,
Yeah.
also hasn't really encouraged women to feel sexy
We
past,
become invisible over the age of 50,
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
invisible. Alana, you work with both women and men, yes?
Yeah, I only work one-on-one with men. And
Yes.
then also I work one-on-one with men and women, and then I have a group program for
Yeah.
women as well, because I
Yeah.
find it's very powerful often
For
for
women in
women to
groups.
be
Yeah.
gathered together in a community and be sharing stories together and really see each other in the dating journey.
Mm.
So I have a group starting in June, actually. I'm going to have
Oh,
another group. So if you would
awesome.
love to change your dating reality by December, so it's going to run June to December,
Yeah.
then please reach out. I would love to talk to you more about how we do that and
Mhm.
what's possible for you. So.
Amazing. You also have a special offer for the audience today. Can you tell people what that is?
Yes. So my offer today is
The good one, guys.
the good one.
It's a great offer for the audience,
Oh,
by the
okay.
way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Perfect. I was going to say it is my free course, the Sacred Flirtations course. And it is a little bit about what we talked about earlier when we were getting into the chemistry stuff,
Mm,
how to create that chemistry. It's just the beginning taste of how do you get into
mm,
starting to create chemistry on purpose.
yeah.
Um, And yeah, it's very fun. We go into some of the body stuff, like how to do it with body language, how to have conversations that are more flirtatious. And also, this name, Sacred Flirtations, like
That's a
what
great
makes
name, isn't it?
flirting so sacred? Yes,
Yeah,
it's very fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Alana, um, what a wonderful conversation to have with you. I'm so glad that you've put your wisdom into the pages of a book to share with the world. I know I have lots of people close to me that have struggled, are struggling in the dating scene. And it's not just young people, it's older people. It's really beneficial for anyone.
Yeah.
And Alana is available to help you, give you pointers, give you tips, work one-on-one. And of course, the book coming up and her free course. I'll say it again. It's called Sacred Flirtations. It's a mini course and it's free. And we have the link attached to this. Alana, do you want to just read the link for the audience, just in case someone's listening whilst driving, which I hope you're not.
I don't know what the link
It's
is, but I
okay.
can find it
It
real
is
fast.
sovereign.patra.com/page/sacred flirt. And that will also be in the notes attached to this interview.
Okay.
Alana, what a delight to have you on the show today to share your journey to writing a book and to understand that within the pages of that book is pretty much your life and learnings and what you had to do to go from unsuccessful dating to successful dating and a long-term relationship and marriage.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on here, Tony. This has been so special. So,
Oh, it's a delight, delight, delight to talk to you. I encourage everyone to run out and grab the book. Even if you're in a long-term relationship, the information is always helpful if you're in a relationship, isn't it, Alana? Like it's not about dating. It's actually about relationships and fulfilling relationships.
yeah, that's actually interesting you say that because
Yeah.
the reviews that have been coming in, just they're very early reviews because the book is just released.
Yes.
But so many of them are saying, oh, I'm a man, but I found this very useful, even though it's written for
Correct.
women. Or, oh, I'm much older and I wasn't sure there would be anything in here for me, but I'm learning so much. And kind of, yeah, just really like that's a feedback people are having, like, oh, I'm
And
in a relationship, but this is still
really
useful and
helpful.
relevant. Yeah.
Because humans are meant to have wonderful relationships. We're meant to be in connected relationships, no matter what that looks like for individuals, but it's part of the fulfillment, I guess. And that's not to say that you can't be single and have an amazing life, but for many of
Mhm.
us, fulfillment comes via an intimate relationship that is strong and passionate, loving and giving and all the rest of it. Alana, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I look forward to see what happens with you next. I'm sure there are more books, more courses, and more stuff on the way for you.
Absolutely. Always. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you so much, Alana. And that, my friends, is your author guest for this week. We'll be back next week. Join us then. Bye for now. It's not about the book, it's about the person you become on the other side of writing a book. What sort of book it is, it can be a business book, it can be a memoir, it can be anything, it can be a children's book. The process of writing will change